Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shenanaguy Plays Trails of Cold Steel 2. So the only thing that I did in the interim between the last video and this video is adjusted the party and went back to the Terra Shrine, jeez, and took care of those trial chests. So you can revisit that one shrine. You can't go to any of the others, though. So, anyway, I figured nobody probably really cares about the trial chests, so I just knocked it out off screen, and here we are. So we're going to continue on with the main storyline. Help out. I want to turn this into a workshop for creating Valamar's Tachi. If you get a chance, I'd really appreciate it if you could help me out. Choosing to help George make his workshop will cause the main story to advance. As a result, all unfinished requests will disappear. Help. Haha, thanks. Well then, do you think you could bring me my tools from over in the Orbital Factory? Can do, George. George and Green then began remodeling the ship's hold into a workshop. While the process was more than a little exhausting, it didn't take long before they were finished. Phew, that should work for now. Okay, let's see if we can process the Zamiran ore. Ready? We're going to start by reinforcing Valamar's existing blade, right? Kind of your way of prepping him for the real thing? That's the idea, yeah. I just want to get a feel for what it's like to work with, and it'll just give you a stronger sword to use in the meantime. Let's get to work, of course. Together, they worked on reinforcing Valamar's existing blade. Despite the task being simple compared to making an entirely new weapon, working with Zamiran ore was hard even for George. Reen and the other members of Class 7, as well as even Valamar, helped where they could and supported him in his efforts. Eventually, Septian calendar 1204, 1224, Friday. Whoa. Valamar, your new blade is quite impressive. Yeah, it came out pretty well. Although the base weapon is still the same as the Soldat's. Unlike a Soldat's blade, however, I can feel mana radiating from it now. I expect it'll be able to hold a significantly keener edge than before. I'm amazed you managed to process that stuff. A hunk of crystal like that must have been a real pain to work with, huh, George? Well, if anyone could, it's you. I wouldn't have been able to do much with if it weren't for you guys' help. That we got this far is a real testament to our combined efforts. I'm not sure our contributions can even compare to what you've done, and I'm grateful for it. I'm sure the battles ahead are going to go a lot more smoothly thanks to this. We're lucky to have you on our side, George. Now all you gotta do is take it into a real fight and see how it feels. Right, we should get Valamar to give it a couple of good swings.
Oh, you're all still here.
Toa?
What's wrong? It's not like you to be so flustered. It's terrible. We got an emergency report in from the Twin Dragons Bridge. It's Keldic. Keldic?
What happened to Keldic?
It was set on fire by the Kreutzen Provincial Army.
Double exclamations.
What? What?
Title screen. They set a course for Keldic and hurried there as fast as their legs could carry them. Once they arrived, a number of them disembarked to assess the situation, Instructor Sarah and Eustace included. We are going to bring with us Laura. I don't actually know if there's any, like, significance to who we bring. Bring her because usually that means Celine comes with us as well. And Gaius. Same day, Celtic. This is awful. How could they? The Grand Market seems to have taken the brunt of it too. The fact that this was the work of the provincial army themselves is distressing to say the least. I can't believe this. Let's have a look around town. We should pay a visit to both the market manager and the 4th Armored Division too. Yes. This very depressing sight. So there's some key events that we have to visit. So we're going to just kind of start on one side and work our way to the other side. A bunch of people injured. Not Louise, too. Ugh. Excuse me, but how's she holding up? Has she been given medical treatment? Father Zerbal's already tended to her, but apparently the blow to her head was so strong he can't be sure if she'll make it. Dots. Luis, please open your eyes. I'm begging you. Dots. You two seemed like good friends from what I've seen. Yeah, we got to know each other from my visits to the Weathercock whenever I was in town for work. But I'm not going to be able to do anything for her staying here. Let's go. We need to see how things are elsewhere. Right. Dots. What's up with this guy? Huh? Daddy's not here. Aw, man, where'd he go? The sister told him to stay put, too. Wake up, Jake. Oh, Jake got injured too? Man. I never noticed that before.
I hope Louise will be okay.
She wasn't the only familiar face either.
Exclamation. Dots. Please don't tell me. No. Why, Otto? Please come back to me. Double exclamations. No way. You're all from Thor's, correct? He fell victim to one of the soldats' attacks while evacuating the townsfolk, I'm afraid. I did everything in my power to save him, and yet... I see. How could this happen? The market manager's always done everything he can to protect this town, but now he's went and gave his life for us. No one loved this town more than Otto. This just goes to prove that. Why did things end up like this? What are we even supposed to do? Yeah, Manager Otto.
Try not to beat yourself up over this, Eustace.
Oh, I see you've all arrived. Lieutenant General Craig, Major Nightheart. I see the RMP is here as well. Thank you for coming, everyone. I presume you are all contacted. That's right, we came as soon as we heard. Is this the work of who I think it is? It is as you suspect. This was done by none other than the Kherson Provincial Army's soldats. Dats. That's absurd. For what reason? So it seems they have no issue with razing the very lands they're meant to protect. This is just unbelievable. Unfortunately, it's very real. Apparently, they broke through a gap in our line of defense at the Twin Dragons Bridge. According to the reports, there were a number of Jaegers within their ranks too. Duke Albarea has been hiring the Northern Jaegers throughout this war. They were behind the attack on Ymir too. That explains things. Raising towns like this is one of their specialties. We arrived on the scene as fast as we could, and managed to fight them off while evacuating the townsfolk, but they had already retreated towards Beauregard and formed a defensive line by the time the 4th Armored Division arrived. The townsfolk readily accepted us after the Provincial Army was forced to retreat from Twin Dragons Bridge. It's clear this was intended to punish them for that as an example to others. Even then, though, there's no excuse for this. This reminds me of what Rufus and Vita said, actually.
I beg to differ. The presence of soldats units on a battlefield makes a tremendous difference. What they may lack in firepower and armor compared to tanks, they make up for in mobility and versatility. But more important than even those factors is the psychological impact they have on our opponents.
We're only human. As such, we are as captivated as we are terrified of giant beings bearing human form.
Rufus said that? Oh, Vita. The fear this attack has instilled in the townsfolk seems to be a testament to those words. Thanks to the soldats, it's safe to say they succeeded in their aim. Even we of the RMP felt somewhat powerless before them, especially since we couldn't prevent that fatality. To think the one fatality would be the market manager of all people. Regardless, we plan to strengthen our defenses here while preparing for countermeasures against Beauregard. I advise that you keep your distance from Keldic for a while. Do engrave this horrid sight into your minds, however. This is no mere minor conflict. It's an all-out war. Never forget that. Well, that's kind of all there is to do. I mean, you can talk to a few people and have even more depressing interactions. I think there might be a scene over here.
No!
It used to be so lively, and now...
You all made it, I see. I've seen a lot during my time as a reporter, but this is the first time I've been left speechless. An atrocity like this can't be forgiven. Nobility or not, there's no excuse for such carnage. We'd be failures as people if we let something like this pass. I'll do whatever I can to make sure this doesn't get covered up. Right, well, I think we've spent enough time in the, Oh, wait a second. We need to check in with Margot. Oh, hello. I somehow managed to keep this place from burning down, but Louise was hit on the head by some falling debris during the attack, and... If I'd known things would end up like this, I would have forced her to take the day off. Alright. That's enough, sadness, I think. We've got a decent grasp on the situation in Keldic now. Should we head back? Rain! Where's my family? they're all safe, right? Becky, Hugo. We told you to wait on board, didn't we? Sorry, but she insisted. You expect me to sit a boot knowing what's happened to my home? My family's safe, right? What about the market manager? Dots. Your family's alright. We saw them at the church. I can't say the same for the market manager, though. Ah, nah. You're having a laugh, huh? Dots. Wait. I've got Irene. I'll make sure she returns to the Courageous. Thanks. We'll make our way back first, then. We have a lot to discuss regarding where to proceed from here. Indeed. After leaving Celtic in the Imperial Army's hands, they all went back to the Courageous. Processing both Otto's death and the state of Celtic proved to be difficult, but they had to face it. It was only after Becky and Hugo returned that they decided to take off.
Still, this war seems to resemble the War of the Lions more by the minute. History tells us towns were set ablaze all across the country back then as well.
Really?
That is said to have been the case, yes. Although the situation back then is very different compared to now.
True enough. This war's been relatively bloodless in comparison, so something like this happening is a big deal.
Still, in the long term, this is bound to hurt the Alliance's cause more than it will help. That's why I'm finding it so hard to picture that Rufus would give the go-ahead to do it.
I think it's safe to say it was just Duke Albarea doing his own thing. He really seems to hate how Duke Cayenne's higher in practice than him in the Alliance.
I'm sorry, but this is where we part ways. Captain, please let me disembark somewhere nearby.
Exclamations.
What? You can't be serious!
You're not thinking of trying to settle things with your father alone, are you?
I can't believe you would even entertain the thought. You need to take a deep breath and calm down before you do something you'll regret, Eustace. How dare you? Don't act like you know the first thing about what I'm feeling right now. As a member of the Albarea family, I have a duty to stop my father. You have no right!
We have every right to interfere, Eustace. This is clearly too much for one person to handle alone.
Machias is right. You need to calm down and we need to think this over together.
Dads.
Yeah, this isn't like you at all.
As your classmates and friends, it's not hard to imagine how terrible you must be feeling right now. But that's exactly why we want to help you. And I believe we can.
We should discuss how to approach this matter together.
That's a Class 7 I know.
Still, this isn't a matter to be taken lightly. Your actions could have a profound effect on the war from here on out. If you're going to get yourselves involved, you're going to need to be prepared for the potential consequences. But I'm sure you guys know the deal at this point, right?
We fully understand what you're saying. So far, we've tried to keep our interference with the war itself to a minimum. However, what just happened in Celtic was an act of terrorism against innocent civilians. We can't turn a blind eye to that.
You're right.
We're all agreed there. The market manager did a lot for us, both during our field study and when we were lying low there after the war broke out.
I'm of the same opinion. He may be head of one of the 4 great houses, but the Imperial family can still make him answer for his crimes. So please, use my position and this ship however necessary to bring him to justice.
Thank you, Your Highness.
All right, I think it's time we come up with a solid plan. We can't allow Duke Albarea to do anything so inhuman ever again.
Dads.
Thank you.
Huh? Is there a call coming through?
Where's it coming from? Bear with me a moment.
Double
This can't be
exclamations.
right. It's coming from an airship owned by the Noble Alliance.
How can that be?
They must have sneaked into range. What should we do, Toa? I think I can shake them off if I try.
No. Put the call up on the screen.
It's a pleasure to see you all again. Especially you, my dear brother. And Princess Alphen is with you too. Truly, it's an honor, Your Highness.
Rufus!
Goodness.
Why are you calling us?
I apologize for calling so abruptly. Rest assured, I have no intention of attacking or otherwise harming you. I'm calling because there is information of which I'd like to make you aware. Due to the rather sensitive nature of my message, this feed is a private communique from my personal airship.
What could you possibly have to tell us?
Does this concern Keldic by any chance?
It does indeed. I imagine all of you have seen what befell the town yourselves. The attack on Keldic was instigated by Duke Albarea alone. We of the Noble Alliance do not in any way condone it. If you plan to confront the Duke about his actions, you need fear no interference from us.
Huh? Oh, I get it. You want us to take him out, don't you?
Exclamations.
Surely not.
The bulk of the Kreutzen Provincial Army is already under my control. The attack was carried out by a small contingent of soldiers who remain loyal to my father. At present, they've walled themselves up in Aurochs Fort along with him. With the aid of the Imperial Army, you ought to be able to take the fortress without much trouble.
This is insane. They're not as well trained as the ones who are serving you, so you don't mind losing them, do you? I'm impressed at how cold-heartedly objective you can be, Mr. Chief of Staff.
Bet you'd love it if we ended up killing each other, so you'd have nothing to worry about, huh?
Nothing of the sort, Miss Clausel. Still, there's no denying my father's actions will be a millstone around the neck of the Alliance going forward. But considering the position I hold, I can't very well publicly oppose him. And that's why I figured I might bring up the matter with all of you. Well, I've said my part. Oh, and Eustace, this is an intensely family-centric affair, as I'm sure you realize. I'm very curious how you'll approach it. Well then, if you'll excuse me, I suppose I'll hope and pray for your success this once, as a sitting member of Thor's Board of Directors.
Nothing like using other people to do your dirty work.
There remains a real possibility that this is a trap.
Still, now we know the Alliance wants something done about Duke Albarea as much as we do. This could be the best chance we're ever going to get to stop him from wreaking more havoc.
I can't allow my father to commit any more of these unforgivable crimes. I will go to Aurochs Fort and apprehend Duke Albarea myself. And it would mean the world to me if all of you were to lend me your aid.
Dots.
Do you even need to ask?
Of course we will. We'll be with you every step of the way.
Yes, we will. With that, they finally began preparations to apprehend Duke Albarea. Duke Albarea's actions against Keldic were believed to be in violation of a number of Imperial laws. With that fact as justification, Class 7 chose to call upon the aid of the 4th Armored Division and RMP to formally place him under arrest. In the end, they settled upon the following plan. First, the 4th Armored Division would attack Brehard's northern line of defense. Meanwhile, the RMP would attack the city's southern line of defense, forcing them to call for reinforcements from Aurochs Fort. This would give Class 7 the opportunity to attack the fortress using the Courageous with relatively limited opposition. And once the fortress was under their control, they were to arrest Duke Albarea, effectively completing the mission. While all of this was being finalized, the remaining touches were put on Valamore's reinforced sword. The operation proved to be an opportune time to test it and collect much-needed data. The next day, the time came for the operation to begin. Septian calendar 1204, 1225 Saturday, taking Aurochs Fort. Well, the time's finally come. Is everyone ready to go? Of course. We can't let Eustace down. This is our chance to avenge Otto's death too. I appreciate it. Just try and focus your thoughts on the operation for now. You can worry about other things later. We'll be right there with you. Sounds like everyone's all fired up and ready to go. This will be our first chance to test Valamar's newly fortified weapon, too. How'd it turn out? Great, actually. And like Laura said, today's operation makes it the perfect chance to test it out in battle. I hope so. It'll be a good way to iron out the kinks anyway. The more data I have, the better off we'll be when it comes to making that Tachi. Guys, the 4th Armored Division and the Railway Military Police are almost ready to make their move. Let me know as soon as you're ready. The sooner the better. I'm coming with you. It doesn't sit right with me to have you going up against high-ranking Jaegers alone. That's no reason to let your guard down, though. Make sure you have everything you need. No problem. The number of members in the party has temporarily increased to 7. Obviously, we want to take Laura, Machias, and I think we'll take Emma and Fee. Yeah. To advance the main story, speak to Toa in the captain's chair and select Commence Operation. Yes, there are a couple of things to do. We want to go to the computer room on the 2nd floor. Grab one of the character profiles that I'm actually missing. Computer room should be this one. Yes. Kind of an odd question, but you wouldn't happen to need any of our photo developing solution, would you? About more than I needed before I boarded, so if you need some, by all means, let me know. I made sure to take some pictures of the chaos in Keldic. It hurt to take every single one, but there's no way I could let this horror go undocumented. Hopefully we can prevent other tragedies like this by exposing the truth to the public. Ah, interesting. I don't know what you would use those liquids for. You know what? Whoops. We're gonna buy one of each of those, just in case it's a thing we eventually need. And that should give us Fidelio. Yeah, Fidelio. Cool, so he's completed. Right. So, next is logins at the training facility. Who's in the sword one, if I remember correctly? Yes. The son of a bitch. I can't believe he'd even try to pull this shit. I don't give a rat's ass how great his house is. Nobody sets fire to a town of innocent people and gets away with it. You guys are the best chance we've got at making that bastard pay for this. Do not screw this up. I can't even remember the last time something made me this mad. That asshole has to pay, and you guys are going to make sure he does. Yes, we are. 100%. I hope. And then last but not least is Lind. That's Vivi. There's Lind. This is the 4th Armored Division. Our tanks are all in position. The RMP also reached Point B and commenced surveillance of Greyhood's southern entrance. Acknowledged. Please continue to stand by. Barring any sudden changes, the operation should begin at the scheduled time. Acknowledged. Waiting on your signal. Dealing with the military like that must be really stressful. I'm glad to see she's been holding up okay. Right, so that is all of the... You'll get a character update for Eustace and Sarah, but those will be automatic. You don't have to talk to them for it. So, yeah. We are going to end this episode here, and in the next episode, we will commence our attack on Oryx Fort. I couldn't say that word for some reason. So until then, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye for now.